Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode number 31 of the Think Like a Marketer show, where we interview marketers, entrepreneurs, and innovators and find out exactly what makes them think. Today, that entrepreneur is me, and we're going to be talking about ways to monetize your Facebook Live. Hey, hope everyone's enjoying their Wednesday morning. For those of you who are joining me later in the evening or replay, whenever you want it. Hey, thanks for coming on. Hey, if you are joining me, you have a question, just pop it in the comments there. I'll be sure to answer it. If you're watching it on the replay, always go back, read the comments, and check it out. Hey, good morning there, Brandon. How are you? Thanks for coming on. This is a topic that I get asked at least once or twice a day, every day. How do you monetize a Facebook Live? Because why would you take your time to do something with no end in mind about how you're going to get paid doing it? So there's many thoughts on this. These are just five. There's probably other ways on how you can monetize your show. I'm just going to cover a few of them. Some of them are obvious and some of them are not so obvious. So I wanted to, give you some tips on that and maybe help you out on that. Normally I have a guest on, but today I wanted to take over this show, at the holidays, asking people to come on. They're traveling, doing some, things. I'm like, hey, well, it's about time I answer that question on how you monetize a Facebook Live. Again, if you have any questions, just feel free to pop on in. So I'm going to cover 5 ways, and then I'm going to give you a bonus one at the end that Facebook is working on. They're currently already have rolled it out. But I'll tell you a little bit more about that at the end. So I just want to, jump right in, and I'm going to talk about the 5 ways. There's 5 ways that you can get paid monetizing Facebook. Again, there's probably other ways. So if I don't cover one that you thought of, hey, kudos to you. So there's 5 ways. One, you could sell your own product, right? Product or service on it. That's obvious, right? You could also offer affiliate programs. Audible.com, they have affiliate program. Hey, even Petco has an affiliate program. So if you don't know what affiliate program is, basically it is a company saying, hey, if you introduce someone to my product and they buy the product through your link, a link that company gives you, then they'll give you a percentage or a set amount, or some of them even a monthly residual. So for example, like ClickFunnels, right? So ClickFunnels says if you recommend somebody to their software and they buy the lower package, the $97, for example, package, and as long as they keep that account, they will pay you $38.80. Not a bad deal, right? I mean, think about how many MLMs can you get paid $38 every month on just recommending somebody to a software, and you don't have to do anything, right? So that's an affiliate program if you didn't know what that is. Show sponsor. Now that's the obvious one that, that's the way major media works, right? Advertisers pay for spots in between Super Bowls, television shows, and then they take that money and then they fund whatever television show, pay those actors with it. So it's highly lucrative. People always ask, like, how do these people that make slime on YouTube make their money? Exactly how Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston and the whole crew of Friends did. They generated an audience. Advertisers paid to be inserted inside of that. And then they took the money and they split it amongst friends. If you remember that show back in the 90s, it was really big. So that's the obvious one, right? Or product placement. Sometimes you can like put a drink, or so depending on what type of show you have, and you place it and they either give it to you or pay you to place that product there. You got brand ambassador. It's a little bit more in depth where, actually represent a brand out there and they kind of control the message. Get somebody, a face out there to represent the brand, whoever it is, from a pretty woman to a, bearded guy who's like Dos Equis guy, right? He's kind of like a brand ambassador, right? He was on a commercial. He was an actor, but he was also a brand ambassador because he traveled around the world. Talking about Dos Equis, remember, the world's most interesting man. So that's another way. You can do these live auctions. Now, that's a really good one. If you sell a product such as a clothing boutique, you'll want to stick around and pay attention to that one because that's a really good one. I'm going to share A couple of ways that you can do that. And then I'm going to save the last one is how Facebook is doing what's called a rev share. So I'm going to cover. So those are the 5, right? So again, selling your products and services on a live show. So like, okay, well, how do you do that? Well, it depends on what you're selling, right? So for example, people ask me all the time, like, Randall, how do I do a show? What is that software you use? Should I do an interview style? Should I, do my own show? Should I co-host? What do the emails look like? And hey, how do I get sponsorship and what all that paperwork? So for one of the services that I offer is, it's called You Need a Show. Yeah, You Need a Show, right? Who would have guessed, original there, right? But basically, it's everything you need to produce your own show, from the equipment to the emails to the sponsorship to how to do frames, like the stuff that you see right now on the screen, the software, how to edit, different softwares you do, how to take all of that content and repurpose it, right? Because that's the good part, right? And get paid doing all of that. So that's one of the ways that I get paid. So it's just selling a product, putting a link in the heading as ads running, as you're talking about it. Maybe you're describing something that you're doing, but one of the ways is that's kind of obvious, right? That you sell. Now, I want to say this: you have to be very careful on exactly how you sell it, right? So you don't want to jump on and say, hey, I have this XYZ widget and I want to sell it for $35 and you talk all about it. I mean, maybe there'll be people who want to buy that widget. Maybe it's just a one-time purchase and like, okay, so you're selling your, an item you have in your garage. But if it's a product that you sell on a daily basis, that's probably not the best way to do it. A better way of doing something like that is educating people around your product that you sell, like services that surround it, like helping people. Like if you were a lawyer, for example, like what would be some things that would help people? Like no one is actually looking for legal services on a daily basis, right? People are most likely looking for it when they, are desperate and like, I don't know what to do. And they just start Googling it, right? You don't use a service like a lawyer every day. But there are ways that you can educate people on a daily basis to understand their rights, for example. Like maybe you're a personal injury attorney and you educate people. So say, hey, if you're ever in an accident, please do not leave the scene or let that person leave without getting a police report, like stuff like that. And hey, did you know that you should also get, if you're rear-ended from your car, for example, that you should get depreciation value of the car, right? Let's say you had a brand new car and it got rear-ended. They fixed the car, right? Well, is the car going to be as valuable as it was before it got hit? No. So educating, like if you're an attorney, educate people on that process. Can you get reimbursed? Is the insurance company definitely not going to tell you about it? So you can kind of see how more educating people around your product or service and not actually trying to sell your product or service, because it's easy for us to click one button and see exactly what you do. If somebody asks you for your product or your service or access to it, like I'm going to share later, because people ask me all the time, where can I get that show product you're talking about? So that's number one, selling your own product or service in the live streaming, right? In some instances, like mortgage or real estate, how do you sell your service but not look like you're selling your service, right? Again, it goes back to know your audience, know exactly what you're trying to, who you're trying to service. If you're trying to service veterans, then just get on there and say, hey, it's Veterans Day. And I want to tell you a story about my grandfather. He was a veteran and why I'm so proud of him and why this is the greatest country in the world, right? To be a veteran, right? If you know exactly what you are selling in the niche that you're selling in real estate, for example, and you want to sell your service on a Facebook Live, don't sell your service. That's the hard part, right? Educate people, tell stories. That's how you do it. Give people things that they can't get, right? Go interview a principal for a school in the best district. Find out why that school district. Go to local restaurants in the area that you specialize in. Talk to those owners. Like, find out their stories. Unique things about that area. Take people and show them what that track looks like. Show them what the community garden looks like in the Heights, and those types of things. Like, those are things. And I'm just giving this as an example in the real estate that you could educate people on every day, make it entertaining, because that's number one. You have to be entertaining. Hey, thanks, Mac, for coming on. Good morning to you too. You have to be entertaining, engage with your audience, right? That's what makes Facebook Live so different and unique than normal television, because it's a two-way conversation. Television is a one-way conversation. They're telling you, Fox and CNN are telling you what their opinions are, right? And you have no say in the game. You just listen, and you can talk to the TV and say that's BS. In Facebook Live, however, you can actually type in your thoughts, and if it's a good commentator and they have the time, they can take questions. They can actually get live questions from the audience. So that's the difference between doing a live and doing television. Because, hey, now media has been democratized, meaning that everyone can now do it. Everyone can have a radio show. Everyone can have a television show. It's not just a small group of people, right? But if you're going to do a show, you got to make sure you make money. So that's number one. You can sell your own product. Number two is you can get sponsors for your show. So now at this part right here, this is important to understand, that whenever you have a sponsor for your show, you have to understand who is your audience. You speak to a certain type of audience, right? About certain things, right? So if you're talking about wine, for example, right? Let's say your show is revolving around talking about wine. Well, who would want to talk to those same people that are listening to your show? Like, the people that are interested in wine. Those people would be good people to approach as sponsors. So maybe there's people who sell, wine lockers, or they build custom wine cellars, people who sell wine trips, those types of people. Maybe an actual, you probably wouldn't want to go with like actual wine person, because then you're just talking about their actual wine. But maybe there's like wine trips or places that you can store your wine. I know there's one here locally. There's a couple of them where you can store your expensive wine. You can go there and it's kind of like a bar, but all the wine is yours. Those types of people. So understanding who your audience is, and then reaching out to them saying, hey, I have a show. I have this many, people who watch my show. This is what my product is, or what I'm trying to build, this audience, and see what they'll do. See if they would be interested in sponsoring your show. You'd be surprised. So you have to understand who is your audience to understand who would be a good sponsor for your show. So that's number two, finding a show sponsor to sponsor your show. So there's people like John Lee Dumas, Entrepreneur on Fire. So, look at the stuff that he does. He makes anywhere from $150,000 to $200,000 every month using some of these five things: affiliate sponsors and selling his own products or service. He sells these diaries. I think he sells a goals diary for your personal and a goals diary for your business online. And he can go to Entrepreneur on Fire, and he actually shares his financial statements with you, where you can see how many sales he does. I think he does $30,000, $40,000 a month just in those alone, through his selling of his own products. And then it's through sponsorships. So if you don't know how sponsorship works, sponsorship basically works just like on television. You open up, if you've ever listened to a podcast or some Facebook Live show or some sort of live streaming show that is sponsored by someone, they usually tell you, hey, show is sponsored by XYZ. And then whatever XYZ company wants them to say on that Facebook Live or that podcast, they say it. And then they move on to the topic. And that's show sponsorship. And maybe they have some other things like, putting it in the show notes and putting it in the description, maybe seeding it, and maybe product placement, placing a product while you're live inside of, the video. So show sponsorship. So some ideas for this. So Companies offer products or service that would be complementary to use, right? That's that one, right? What would be complementary to whatever your show that you're putting together? What about a problem or a challenge does your audience face that you could help them solve with that, right? These are some ideas on show sponsorships. What products or service apps or platforms that you are already using that you could, talk about. Maybe these would be ideas for show sponsors. If you use an app that really helps you, I know my business partner uses Twello. I think, is it Twello? It's like a scheduling app that really helps him. He really loves that app. That would be something. Maybe reach out to someone like that, or someone like this software that I'm using right now, Be Live TV. Maybe they won't pay. Some will pay you, some won't. You have to decide what it is that you want. If you want to get shoes for payment, I would say go for the money. I mean, you could always go buy a pair of shoes with the money if you wanted, or whatever it is. So again, show sponsorship. So some of the things that when you're creating a show sponsorship, it's good to have a page that someone could go to. And all of this stuff, again, if this is something that you are interested in, I have a course that kind of details all this stuff out, but I'm just kind of sharing it with you. But it is good to have either a PDF or a web page that actually is an info, like a one-sheet information page. If somebody was interested in sponsoring a show, that you could give them to, like, kind of highlights about you, about the show, demographics on your audience, the size of your current audience, details about your show, maybe screenshots of some results from your show. If you're new with the show, maybe you're going to have to just convince people, like, hey, believe in me, right? I mean, imagine if you could have, if, for example, before Kim Kardashian got big, use her for example, that you could have gone to her and said, hey, I believe that you're going to be big, and I'd be willing to pay you, $5,000 a month if I can lock that price in for the next 10 years. And all I have to do is pay you $5,000 a month, and you do X, Y, Z. I mean, right now, Kim Kardashian charges like a couple $100,000 to do one thing. And imagine if you could get that one thing for $5,000. So there's that element of, if you're new in the game, how well can you sell it? And basic pricing based on you starting out. Maybe as the show grows, you gradually increase it. So in this case, you kind of be creative in these types of things, right? You want to have testimonials on that page. Like if you do have a show, people who have been sponsors, who are sponsors, and are they happy with it? What has their results been with working with you? Those types of things. Give them options for working with you. Maybe it's not just a sponsorship. Maybe they want to give you money, maybe give you some products for some placements. Maybe they want to have you as a quasi brand ambassador. Like leave room for them to negotiate with you on those things. So brand ambassador, right? Like that's the other one. Like most people, when you think about like, well, what's the difference between a sponsor and a brand ambassador? A brand ambassador is more about it's similar. It's similar to sponsoring a show, but a little bit different. Their arrangements may be a little bit different. So, for example, you may get paid to MC one of their events, show up to special events representing their brand, maybe making appearances on products that they are selling, that you go in and maybe you shoot the videos for them. They could be many different types, that it's not just you promoting it on your show, that you're actually become an influencer marketer. Like you're out there representing that specific brand in events, for example, emceeing, for example, maybe showing up to specific things and representing them. It could all be dictated on what it is that they need, but there's a slight difference where a sponsor is like, it's just for the show, right? You're going to say, hey, thank you for my sponsors. And you mention their name in the show, put it in the show notes, and that's kind of it. Or brand ambassador, you're getting a little bit more deeper, that you're out there representing them as an actual brand influencer. So hopefully I'm explaining that right. Hey, it's early in the morning and I spilt my coffee on my desk right now. So I'm trying to work around not putting my hand in it. And I don't have anything to clean it up. So it was fun stuff here. So that's it. So another way you can make money using a lot is affiliate offers. Now I talked a little bit about this in the opener, but affiliate marketing. Let me tell you something. ClickFunnels. If you haven't heard of the ClickFunnels, let me tell you something. ClickFunnels has one of the best affiliate programs to me, right? You could literally, I could myself, you too, if you knew how to have the skills, I could go in and build out let's say just a quick, easy opt-in funnel for a specific field, real estate, legal, fitness, whatever, right? And then say, hey, I built out this awesome opt-in funnel that comes with a lead magnet. All you have to do is change it to your colors, put all these things in there. The lead magnet is already created. You take and you put that link on your site. You put it on maybe when you're doing a Facebook Live and you want to build a list, and you can have it. It's totally for free. All you have to do is click this button. And then if you want to use it, ClickFunnels will allow you to use it totally for free for 14 days. And if it starts working, well, then you can start paying ClickFunnels to have the account, $97 a month. And it does all this other great stuff. And then you can start building out all kinds of other things, membership stuff and all that, right? For the consumer, like somebody doing all the work for them totally for free, like to pay somebody to do that may cost $1,000 or more, depending on how in depth it is. Maybe it's a webinar funnel that you get for free, right? But the cool thing is you, the person who has ClickFunnels, and you share that link with them. If that person goes past the 14 days and they keep it, and it's generating leads or generating new signups for their newsletter or their whatever their subscription or for their show, they will pay you $38.80. I don't need to tell you that's pretty good. If you could get 100 people to do that, that's close to $4,000 a month for you doing nothing. As long as they keep that account, they kept it for 10 years, every month, ClickFunnels pays you $38.80. I mean, think about what affiliate program out there. Can you build one product? You go in, build an awesome product. Maybe you know everything about the legal field and what they need for building a webinar to get more personal injury. I'm just making this stuff up, right? And you build that out and you go share it on a live, or you share it on a page inside a group, and 100 lawyers download it and 50 of them decide that they are going to use it and they sign up and they keep it. You're making almost $2,000 a month just for doing one thing. And you could take that funnel and share it over and over, and everybody who gets it and uses it and signs up for ClickFunnels gets paid. But here's the cool thing. If they decide to upgrade to the higher package, which ClickFunnels does amazing things, a lot of things, and they're growing and improving on a daily basis, you get paid $118 a month. So that's much more. Again, month over month over month. Now, I'm just giving ClickFunnels as one of the examples of a software or an affiliate program that you could offer inside of your Facebook Live. I'm not suggesting that has to be the one that you use. Use something that is relevant to your audience. If you're fitness, maybe it's some sort of affiliate in fitness in vitamins or supplements or some meal plans or some sort of something, right? There's some sort of program out there. Maybe some gym has affiliate program that, hey, if people sign up for my virtual gym, I'll pay you X amount of dollars. Whatever it is that your audience would react to, that's a way that you can do it. Hey, audible.com. If you're like this show right here, Audible would be a great affiliate program for me to sign up for. I go sign up for it. Anybody who signs up for it, I think they pay like $25 one time. I think if they sign up for a program. It's been a while since I looked at it, but I know they have one. But it'd be a good one for me to offer because, hey, you know, when you're an entrepreneur, you're in the marketing business, you're continually learning. So say, hey, I read this book. Hey, there's a link in the book. You can get it at Audible. If you don't have an Audible account, click that and you sign up, and they sign up under your link, you get paid. So that's how you get paid as an affiliate. So this last one right here, like this is super cool. For those of you who have clothing, so I get this is probably the most like people who own boutiques or stores where they sell clothing, right? That is, first off, that is a very, very, very tough business. It ranks right up there with restaurants. I think restaurants and the food business is one of the toughest business. If you don't know what you're doing, you don't know how to run a business, but it can be one of the most rewarding as well. So clothing, right? There's a lady, I think her name is Miss Mannequin. I stopped and looked at her site this morning, and she was actually running a live auction. She had like 2,300 people watching live, and she was selling like scarves or something. It was like she wasn't selling anything like special, and people were buying them live while she was live on her live. I mean, there was like literally 650 plus shares of her stuff. And that was this morning. I mean, it was like 9 o'clock in the morning. Now, I don't know where she does it. I do know that she doesn't speak very good English. She's a Chinese lady, and you could barely understand what she's saying. But hey, she's doing a great job, right? So if you want to go check out kind of what she did with this, you can go to Miss Mannequin, right? There's companies like La Rue, I think is the name of it. In 4 years, they grew from 300 sellers to over 80,000 in the United States. Yeah, right. That's a big jump. They did pop-up parties, auction via Facebook. Instead of doing, if you don't know what a pop-up party or a pop-up or trunk show, it's basically where you go into these boutiques and then boutique invites people out and they say, hey, I like that. And then they buy them. And then hopefully they get that local boutique owner to start selling their clothing. But why do that when you could just sell them live? You don't even need to have a boutique. You just need to have a room where you can sell your clothing and you order them online. So there's some third-party apps out there, and I'll put them in the show notes here afterwards. If you are a person who is interested in selling your clothing, one of them is called Buddy Bid. You can go check them out. Another one is Monarch Market. Those are some two. I'm sure there's other ones. Those are just two that come to top of my mind on running a third-party application on Facebook to sell your clothing. Basically, you just write a number for each one of the items that you're selling. People that are in the live stream can go in, because you can pay people directly through Facebook now. They put in the item that they want to buy. So there's somebody on the behind the scenes who sends them an invoice. Boom, they get the invoice. They click a button and they pay for whatever that item, and then they ship the item to those people. I mean, pretty simple, right? And it doesn't require you to have an actual shop. Now, if you have a shop, just sell them out of your shop, right? It opens up a whole new world for you as a boutique owner. Look, listen to me. If you own a boutique, you are very limited, especially if you go to Westheimer. I'm here in Houston, Westheimer. There's all these boutiques up and down, and at least every 6 months they rotate through. I mean, have these people not figured out that that is not a good area to have a store? I mean, literally one shop has had 30 different stores in the past 5 years. There might be a clue. Not open up a shop. But what I have noticed, because I eat in a restaurant that's down the street, that they all take the same approach. They think they make this beautiful store. They have this great, all these amazing clothing in there, because maybe they are. I don't know. I don't buy female clothing or shoes or whatever it is, and that people are just going to just beat down the door to get to them. And it's just not the case. People have many, 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 many choices. They got Amazon or any online retailer. They got clothing that they're already used to buying, that they like buying, things that they want to buy. Maybe they don't want to buy your stuff, or they just don't know about it. So using the internet and live, you can introduce people, because let me back up. The problem that you have is you're limited to those people who are within driving distance of your store, because people most likely are not going to drive 200 miles to come to your store. But when you sell on a Facebook Live, you opens up the whole United States, in fact, the whole world in certain countries, and you can send clothing anywhere. So now you have a much bigger audience a much bigger market, and that makes more sense. And set up a portion in your shop that is strictly ran for your live auction or your live online sales. Build a group and get feedback from them and say, hey, what is it that you guys like? What is it that you want? What clothing would you like to see? I mean, these online gathering of information, maybe they don't like what you're selling. Start selling. If you want to make money in the business, don't sell what you think they should buy. Sell them what they want. You'll make much more money, I promise you. So hopefully that was a useful one for if you're a live auction. And you could do this with any other, I'm just saying in the clothing, but you could use it in any product. You sell toys, you sell comic books, you sell, you name it, shoes, jewelry, any of these things. You could do it exactly the same way and just make it entertaining. I mean, there's people are selling pearls. They literally open up, they get a box of these clams, I guess it's clams, oysters, and they open them and they go, oh, wow, here's this a green pearl. And hey, and here it is, and it's 6 centimeters, and they sell them. And hey, if you want to buy that, it's $32. And people go and they buy these pearls, and I watch them, and these people have 300-400 people live watching them open up these oysters and pull out pearls and sell them these oysters. Hey, Wyatt, what's going on? Hey, thanks for coming on, Dr. Wyatt. So you could run these live auctions, right? It's the one part where it's okay for you to actually sell your actual product, because when people come to a live auction, they actually know that you're trying to sell them a product or something on a live, right? So I saved this last one here, right? I saved this last one, and that's Facebook ad monetization, right? So Facebook has decided that, you know, they're competing with YouTube. They want to bring over YouTube content creators. YouTube has for a long period of time been paying their content creators, and Facebook was not paying people to create content. So Facebook created this new watch, and they're trying to recruit those people over. But the only reason those people come over from a place that's like, why would I go from they pay me here to they don't pay me here? That wouldn't make any sense. So Facebook is really trying to recruit those people in. So they created this Facebook ad monetization program, right? So the ads monetization program. So I got it up on my screen now. Some of the rules the monetization through Facebook ad. So this is ad breaks, right? So if you've ever watched like a Gary Vee or some high influencer who has a brand that you recognize, you've probably watched the video, and in the middle of the video, it cuts to a commercial, right? So now it's kind of getting to be like television. But when it does that, they actually pay that content creator a portion of that ad revenue, right? So what it says here is Facebook, through its video ad breaks, they pay 55% to you, and 45% of that goes to Facebook. So for easy math, if that ad break, Facebook made $1, they would give you 55 cents, and they would keep 45 cents in that case, right? Now, again, this is in the early days, so all of these things are up for change. I mean, Facebook and everything changes like overnight, right? And they may decide like, hey, we're going to just scrap that. But I'm kind of reading it from their site now. Their live video specs now, it's pages only. You must have at least 50,000 followers. You must have at least 300 consecutive or concurrent viewers. So meaning like I'm live right now, right? And have at least 300 live people watching your show concurrently. You must be live for at least 4 minutes, and then every 5 minutes they will have an ad break. And the ad breaks last up to 20 seconds, right? So I'm just reading this from Facebook here. These ad breaks are on-demand videos, and they're testing them. So they do one like every 3 minutes in a video, or in some they may do it up to 1 minute. Again, all of this stuff could change. So again, Facebook is really trying to recruit ad content creators. So hey, look, if they're going to start paying, get on. If you really enjoy being on camera, talking about a subject, a subject, and you think that the audience would enjoy it, you get on and you start creating content, you start building an audience, and hey, these are the 5 ways. There's many other ways, but you could get show sponsors. You could sell your own products. You could get, eventually, if you get enough traffic, Facebook could pay you. I mean, I don't need to tell you, there are people out there on YouTube creating content, making millions of dollars. You got the Slime Queen making a couple mil a year. Ryan's Toys Review, he's probably 7 years old, makes 11 million a year reviewing toys. He got a toy agreement now. He made like way more. Video game people, I mean, there's like tons of stuff. I will say that the market is crowded. There's a lot of people out there on YouTube's especially who are just trying to create content. But this is what I want to say. If you decide that you want to venture out and create a show and you start doing it, be consistent. Don't give up and do it for a long period of time. Don't expect that 10 shows in, like, I'm not making any money or nobody's watching. Don't pay attention to that. First off, you need to cultivate an audience and in yourself. Maybe you've never done this kind of thing before. I mean, I've never done this stuff before. I only started because Facebook gave me the ability to do it and I wanted to do it. I enjoy doing it in the business of helping people do this type of stuff. So it makes sense that I would have it to find out what are some frustrations, keeping up with it, and share those tips, tricks, and resources like I am today with people who want to do it. I work with a client right now who sells manufacturing equipment for chiropractors, and they have a show, and they hired a doctor to come in to work with them on some other things to like really help them dial in some protocols and some doctor speak, so to say, with theirs. But he also just happened to be really good on camera, and he can edify with the people who are watching the show because he's actually one of them, and he really makes it really entertaining, very educational, provides information. They're 5, 6 shows in, and they're slowly building an audience. They're patient. They know that it takes time. They know that they are creating great content that's valuable for their audience. And look, they are a manufacturing company. They manufacture equipment, right? And they are already starting to build a following. They're already having people reaching out to them about their products based on a show, right? So it's not unique to just somebody who's selling clothing or an entrepreneur. It could be anything. I mean, I spoke at an event last year, and a guy came up to me. He's 25 years old, and he tells me that he has a podcast that he talks about Power Rangers. He's 26 years old. He talks about Power Rangers. And in my mind, I'm going, how many people care about Power Rangers in your age group? He goes, oh, I get 10 to 20,000 downloads on average every month. I'm like, wow, well, there's at least 10 to 20,000 people who care enough about Power Rangers. And like, what do you talk about? I don't know, because I don't know anything about Power Rangers, but he does. So it's not limited. Whatever. Fishing. Do you like fishing? Art. I mean, remember the guy with the big fro? On television. I can't remember what that guy's name was. And he would show you how to paint like these nature scenes, right? And, anybody watch those? I mean, if you're my age, and this guy, a big fro, beard, and he would paint these beautiful paint, and he always made it look like super easy. Like he goes, all you do is just do this. You take this brush, you dab it here, you do this. Now you come back and you highlight it, and you go, wow, that's amazing. And then you try to recreate that. And I was like, how come mine looks like you're looking into a bowl of a toilet? Like yours looks like an amazing scene. So you can do things like that. Creating art. If you're a charity, I mean, come on. I mean, get out there and share what's going on, what the charity is doing. If it's the water, I mean, there's so many things that you could do. A painter, yeah, exactly. Bob the painter. That's it. Bob. God, what was his name? Robbie, Bob, God, it was on the tip of my tongue. Ross, that's it, Bob Ross. Well, what a common name, what an easy name to remember. Yeah, Bob Ross. I mean, that guy was on television for a long time. So there's many ways that you can do, have a show. But let me tell you, if you are going to create a show and take your time to do a show, figure out how it makes you money at the same time. Don't just do a show just to do a show, because if you do that, you eventually you will get burned out, and you'll have no reason to continue to do it because you ain't getting paid, right? So, hey, if you are interested in learning more, you can go to my website, Randall Chestnut. That's no T in the middle, two at the end. I say little in the middle, but I got much back. .com. There at the top of the page, there is a link for you to get on my schedule. We can chat, see if the show is something that's good for you. If it is, I can send you a link. Actually have a link that you can go. If you already know, like, hey, I already know I want to do a show, I want it to get started, you can go to this link right here. It's on the I'll provide this link in the show description. If you're wanting to create a show, you can go right here. It's a bit.ly link. It's basically bit.ly/you need a show order. It's on the screen there. If you're listening, you can go to bit.ly, and that's bit.ly/you need a show order. And you can go order that. And the first step in the process is a 30-minute session with me to really help dial in like your show. Like, you got an idea, but it does help to have somebody who's done it. I've worked with several people who now have brand ambassadors. They have sponsorships. Some of them moved on to television, now have television programs that came to them, and they want to now have their show on television. I've been approached to take my show on television. I just don't want to do that. I don't have the time. So again, if you have any questions, you can go to either those or randallchestnut.com. Hey, as always, I appreciate that you give me your time. If you're watching it live, hey, thanks for staying on for 40 minutes of your Wednesday morning. Hopefully it was entertaining. And, this show was not as entertaining as normal because I really wanted to take the time and cover those in depth a little bit. I didn't go too deep, but I wanted to give you some examples on how you can monetize a show. You maybe thought about it, considered having a show. So hopefully that was useful. Again, if you have any questions, you can put them in the comments or you can direct message me. Again, thanks everybody, and have a wonderful Wednesday